What if I told you that the biggest enemy you'll ever face isn't outside your door, but inside your head? What if the very thoughts you trust most are actually the lies that keep you trapped? Have you ever felt like there's this invisible ceiling hovering above your life? Like no matter how hard you grind, how many motivational videos you watch, or how desperately you try to change things, you keep smashing into the same invisible barriers over and over again. You push forward, and bam, there it is. That familiar whisper creeping up your spine like ice water. Maybe I'm just not cut out for this. And suddenly, you're right back where you started, wondering if this mediocre version of your life is all you're ever going to get. But here's what nobody talks about: you're not broken. You're not destined to live on repeat like some tragic Netflix series that never gets canceled. You're just dealing with something that's silently destroying millions of lives every single day, limiting beliefs. These aren't just negative thoughts. They're like malicious software running in the background of your mind, quietly sabotaging every dream you dare to chase. And the scariest part, most of the time, you don't even know they're there. They don't scream at you. They whisper, gently, convincingly, like a voice that sounds exactly like you, but isn't telling you the truth. It's like having a toxic roommate in your head who never pays rent, devours your confidence for breakfast, and casually reminds you that you're probably not ready for success. Let me paint you a picture that changed everything for me. There's this story about an elephant born in captivity at a traveling circus. When this elephant was just a baby, weighing maybe a few hundred pounds, the circus workers tied a thick rope around its tiny leg and staked it deep into the ground. Day after day, that baby elephant would pull and tug and fight against that rope with everything it had. But it wasn't strong enough. Not yet. The rope held firm, and slowly, painfully, that elephant learned a devastating lesson: escape is impossible. Years passed. That baby grew into a massive, powerful creature, 10,000 pounds of pure strength, capable of uprooting trees and dragging trucks across dirt roads. But here's the heartbreaking part: that same little rope still held it prisoner. Not because it couldn't break free, it absolutely could, but because it had already decided it couldn't. The elephant never even tried anymore. In its mind, that rope was unbreakable, even though it now had the power to snap it like a toothpick. And that's exactly what we do to ourselves. We're walking around with the strength of giants, carrying dreams that could move mountains, equipped with wisdom and potential that could change everything. But we're still chained to these tiny ropes from our past, ropes made of childhood criticism, early failures, heartbreaks, and all those times someone made us feel small. We stay trapped not because we are weak, but because we believe we are. And here's the most tragic part: most people never even test the rope. They just assume it's unbreakable and live their entire lives in an invisible prison. So let me ask you something that might make you uncomfortable. What's your rope? What belief have you been dragging around for years without ever questioning it? Maybe it's, I'm not smart enough for that job. Maybe it's, people like me don't get lucky breaks. Maybe it's, I always mess things up when it matters. Or perhaps it's the deeply toxic classic, I don't deserve better than this. I want you to really sit with that belief for a moment, not to judge yourself, but to get curious about it. Where did it come from? Who planted that seed in your mind? Was it a parent who was too stressed to encourage you? A teacher who crushed your confidence with one careless comment? A relationship that ended badly and convinced you that you're too much or not enough? Because here's something that might shock you: just because something feels true doesn't mean it actually is true. Your feelings are signals, not facts. They're clues about your experience, not conclusions about your reality. Now, let's talk about your brain for a second, because understanding this will change everything. Your brain, while absolutely brilliant, is also incredibly lazy. It's addicted to routine and familiarity, like a Netflix algorithm that keeps recommending the same depressing shows because they're predictable. Your brain literally rewires itself around repetition. What you think repeatedly, you start to believe automatically. What you believe deeply, you start to expect unconsciously. And what you expect consistently, you unconsciously create in your life. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy wrapped in a comfort blanket of doubt. The only way to break this cycle is to interrupt the pattern, to pause mid-thought and ask, wait, is this actually true? Or is this just some old programming I never bothered to update? Here's where most people get it backwards. They think belief is something you earn through evidence, that you need proof before you can feel confident. But that's completely upside down. Belief comes first. Confidence isn't the result of success. It's the fuel that creates success. You build unshakable belief by choosing to act anyway. Even when your hands are trembling. Even when that voice in your head, let's call him Carl. Because every inner critic needs a name, starts his familiar rant about why this will never work for someone like you. You don't argue with Carl. You don't try to convince him. You just nod politely and keep moving. You say, thanks for your concern, Carl, but I'm doing this anyway. That's where real power lies. That's where freedom begins. Let's get practical about breaking these chains. Step 1 is brutal awareness. You cannot change what you refuse to face. Start paying attention to your internal dialogue like a detective gathering evidence. Listen to the things you say to yourself when nobody else is around. Would you say those words to someone you love? Would you talk to your best friend the way you talk to yourself? If the answer is no, then you've found your first rope to cut. Step 2. Challenge these beliefs like your life depends on it, because it does. Don't accept them like expired coupons at the checkout of your dreams. Demand receipts? Ask, who told me this? What evidence do I actually have? And do they even know what they're talking about? Most of the time, you'll discover that your biggest limitations came from people who were living in their own tiny boxes, projecting their fears onto your possibilities. Step 3 is the fun part. Rewrite the story. Not with delusional positivity, but with empowering truth. Instead of, I always fail, try, every mistake is teaching me something valuable. Instead of, I don't belong here, try, I'm creating my place one bold choice at a time. This isn't about pretending life is easy or pain-free. It's about refusing to live like your worth is conditional on other people's approval or past mistakes. And hey, let me pause here and tell you something real. Look at everything you've already survived. You've made it through days that felt impossible. You've kept going when you had nothing left in the tank. You've shown up even when you doubted yourself completely. That's not luck. That's not accident. That's evidence of a strength inside you that's deeper than any limiting belief. You're already more resilient than the voice in your head gives you credit for. So, if today you're feeling tired, lost, or unsure if you can really rewrite your story, remember this: change doesn't require you to feel invincible. It just requires you to believe you're capable, especially when you're scared. Most especially when you're scared. Here's something that might blow your mind. You can choose to believe in yourself without having perfect evidence. You can choose to trust the possibility of your growth more than the certainty of your fear. That's what bold people do, not perfect people, but bold ones. These are people who feel the terror and move toward their dreams anyway. Who fail, fall down, maybe cry in their car during lunch break, then get up and try again. That's real strength. That's how you build a belief system that can't be shaken. You do it one brave choice at a time. One day of choosing possibility over fear. One moment of acting like the person you want to become instead of the person you used to be. So take a deep breath. Breathe in through your nose, out through your doubt. Remind yourself of this truth: you are not your past. You are not the worst thing that ever happened to you. You are not that scared kid who learned to play small. You are a grown person with power, choice, and the incredible ability to change your story starting right now. Even if you've believed lies about yourself for decades, you can still rewrite the truth today. You are not too late. You're not too far behind. You're not damaged beyond repair. You're standing on the edge of something beautiful, and the only thing you need to step into it is to believe that you can. Not perfectly, not all at once, but enough to try. Enough to say, I'm done letting fear drive this car. Enough to declare, I deserve better than this outdated belief system that never saw who I really am. If nobody else tells you today, let me be the voice that says it. I believe in you. I believe in your comeback story. I believe you have the power to untie that rope and walk toward the life that's been patiently waiting for you. Those limits you've accepted as reality, they're just illusions. Those fears you've been feeding, they're not facts. You're bigger than all of it. You're not defined by your doubt or delayed by your hesitation. You're a plot twist waiting to happen. And this moment, right now, this is where your new chapter begins. So keep going. Stay stubborn about your growth. Stay wild enough to believe that your future isn't carved in stone, it's written by you. And you're holding the pen right now. If this message hit you where you needed it most, show me by hitting that like button. Drop a comment and tell me, what rope are you ready to break free from today? And if you want more content that challenges you to level up your life, make sure you subscribe. Your future self is counting on the choices you make right now.